Welcome to Self-Love Lifestyles. I'm Marcy Newman, your Heart Shift coach, and of course, the creator of Self-Love Lifestyles. So today I was thinking about talking to you actually about a couple of different things, different perspectives that I have on self-love. And then all of a sudden I realized, well, you might have questions about why I think it's so imperative that you create a self-love lifestyle. I mean, after all, I'm sure you've heard lots about self-love, but why a self-love lifestyle? What is that going to do for you, and how is it different from just practicing self-love? So let's start here. Let's start first off with understanding that the practice of self-love is not a temporary gig. The practice of self-love is one that will and does follow you for the rest of your life. You are here to remember who you really are. And that takes place through developing a self-love lifestyle. But before we dive into that, I want you to understand that this self-love journey that you're on requires you to be in constant awareness. Number one, when you are out of self-love and that frequency of energy, but also when you're in it. So why a self-love lifestyle rather than just talking about practicing self-love? Here's why. Self-love, as I said, is a journey, but it's a journey of unfolding. You're actually remembering who you really are, and that is a divine being, a creator, a creative genius, and remembering that your purpose here is to create. Now, you are creating 24/7. You can't help yourself because you're a creative genius. But what happens is that the ego, which is an aspect of our human existence, is very frightened of your ability to create. So frightened because it knows that when you do realize who you are, it's not going to have control over you anymore. And so it does everything in its possibilities to make certain that you don't remember that. Remember, the ego is developed during our childhoods, and it is developed when we come into experiences that are in direct conflict with our truth. Our truth is that we are a divine being. Our truth is that we are this creative genius. Our truth is that we were created from the energy of love, and that love is what we are here to create from. So the ego is that aspect of this human existence that doesn't have the capability of creating. It produces effects. So I'm sure you've heard about cause and effect, right? It produces the effects. And it produces the effects based upon your denial of your own divinity. That's when it steps in. Because it doesn't know that you're this incredible, wise, intelligent, all-knowing being. It still thinks of you as that child that was dependent on others, that didn't understand everything, that didn't possess the tools or the wisdom that comes from experience. And so in its very limited capacity, it perceives you as being in danger if it leaves you out of its control because it perceives itself as being endangered without having control over you. So when we start to think from this perspective, we can understand a little bit more about self-love, why it's so essential, and from my perspective, why creating a self-love lifestyle is actually imperative for your happiness, for your health, and for you to achieve the fulfillment that your heart is yearning for. So here's what happens when you're confronted with a situation that is really asking for or demanding that you respond from self-love rather than from acquiescing your power as you have in the past. What happens is you're confronted. You have this recognition that this is not in your highest good for you to continue on with this programming and bleeding out all of your energy that you could be using for creating something new. And what happens is the moment that you're confronted, you're also, of course, given an invitation, a choice. Do you want to continue on with that program, letting the ego take over your power and giving up all of that energy? Or do you want to step up for yourself? And do you want to change the trajectory of that energy? When you make the decision to actually stand up, reclaim your power, change the trajectory so that you are making a change in your life, the ego goes crazy. It's so consumed with fear. It starts, wreaking havoc in your life. Well, what happens if you give in to that is that not only are you feeding that fear, that energy, but the ego gets its clutches in you deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm certain that you have seen how this has happened over and over and over in your life. In fact, it's how you developed those patterns of behaviors that seem to sabotage you all the time rather than supporting you and going forwards. So every time that we acquiesce, even though we've gotten the message to change something, to stand up and not acquiesce our power, if we once again allow the ego to take control, we actually are digging our hole deeper and deeper. We're going into this downward spiral then, where it's much more difficult for us to rise up. And that's exactly what the ego is counting on. So it does whatever it can to produce these smoke screens and distractions and convince you that you're not enough. You're not worthy. You're not capable of creating that change. In other words, it's hell-bent on sabotaging you. But here's the thing. Because you are this creative genius, you can change all of that. But it comes with a price. And that price is that you have to be willing to let go of that control of the ego. And you must be committed to remaining aligned with your truth, which means that you also have to start feeding the energy of self-love rather than the energy of the ego. So this is just an incredible time when you start to develop this conscious awareness about when you're in this energy of self-love and when you're out of it. And so as we begin to develop this awareness, we are empowered every single time we take even the smallest little step in creating this new pattern so that when we're confronted and risk being disempowered, we shore ourselves up, we reconnect with our heart, which is the source of our power, and we take the actions that are in alignment with that. And by the way, your higher self will always present you with the actions. You won't even have to wonder. You will know immediately the moment that you start to feel that you've been confronted with this new invitation. The moment that you say yes to it, the universe will provide for you everything that you need. It's happened to me. It's happened to thousands of people I've worked with all around the world. This is the process. So it takes this trust that this is going to happen, but more than anything, you must be committed. You must be committed to creating the lifestyle so that it becomes easier and easier for you to discern when you're in and out of that self-love vibration. What will happen is, in creating the lifestyle, it will become so uncomfortable for you to give away your power that you will bring yourself back as quickly as possible. And that's, of course, what we want, because it's how we bring our dreams, our heart's desires to life. It's how we start to live the life that we're meant to live. We all are here wanting to know what our soul's purpose is. How can we best serve? What are we supposed to do? Who are we here? Well, all of those answers are waiting for you in this higher vibrational frequency that you then have access to once you've embarked upon creating this self-love lifestyle. So it's really the key to having it all. And so this danger of stepping up for yourself and reclaiming your power and then just going back to your own patterning is that you are sabotaging yourself. So if you haven't yet received the free ebook on HeartShift-Coach.com, the name of that ebook is How to Shift from Self-Sabotage to Self-Love in 5 Days. This is really important. If you've received it and you haven't read it yet, please read it. Take it to heart, because you're here with me, with everyone here right now, to embark upon this journey, to change the whole trajectory of your life, so that loving yourself is the recognition that you are this divine being, you are this creative genius, and you are here to create through the energy of love. So, of course, you must accept yourself as love. And I know for many, it's a huge, huge step. But that's why we're here together. I am going to support you every step along the way. Every single week, you're going to get another video. At the end of each month, we're going to have a live workshop where you can ask me all kinds of questions. Get what you need. One of the main tenets of self-love is that we reach for what it is that we want and need, because we know we're worth it. We know that this is how we're meant to live. And we know that the universe is falling over itself, waiting to deliver it. So this is great food for thought and great food for your heart, which is just waiting for you to dive in deep. And so I'd like to give you an affirmation for going forward. And this affirmation, which is food for your heart and your mind, is I am capable, I am worthy, and I am the creator of my self-love lifestyle that begins right here and right now. All of your creative ability is found in the now. So right now, write that down. Repeat it to yourself. It's fabulous to speak those words out loud to yourself in a mirror and let all of that energy be reflected back to you. Start reclaiming your power, and your power will take you to where your ability to create your life and the life of all of your dreams is right there. Full access. Okay, so much love to you. I'm going to see you right back here again with the next video. And in the meantime, practice, 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 but practice keeping those gaps between the times of self-love invitations shorter and shorter so that it becomes your lifestyle. We'll address this more. Okay, take care. So much love to you. And remember to love yourself as the divine self of your being.